What's happening, Achievers? Ajit Sidhu here from Invincible Achievers. Just want to continue on from yesterday's video about the assets versus liabilities, but also we spoke yesterday about goal setting. Now, in goal setting, I kind of briefly hit upon the fact that you should take a break. Now, I just want to expand upon that. Now, whenever you make a decision, whenever I want to make a decision, I always want to be in a peak state. And this is what everyone should be doing. Because if you're in a low state of mind, you've got negative things that are going on in your head, you're going down in a spiral, and you make a decision, that decision is not going to be a good decision. When you make a decision, you want to be in a high energy, a peak state. And this is where I'd like making my decisions after a gym workout or early in the morning once the children are off to school and nursery and I'm by myself, where I'm able to think and then I'm able to make decisions. Now, in my day-to-day life, I have to solve a lot of problems, a lot of decisions I have to make instantaneously. But there's some decisions which is more for long-term goals, like yesterday we talked about the goals, that you make a decision. Now, every decision that you make is going to be based upon either an emotional part of you or is going to be logical. Now, the first time you're going to make a decision is always going to be emotional. Someone's going to be telling you something and you're going to make a decision saying, wow, I really want to do that. And you kind of make a decision based upon a story someone's told you, or a story that you've told yourself and you've got emotionally engaged into it. For instance, if you're gonna go buy a car and you start looking, you look at so many different cars and one person sells this beautiful car with all the safety aspects of it and the mileage and the CO2 emissions, and they tell a whole story of how it was created, and all of a sudden you're emotionally charged and you think, yeah, I'm gonna buy this. But then what happens is when you take it home, logic comes to play and you think, why did I buy this? Because emotions disappear and logic comes to play. And once logic comes to play, that's when you start thinking, have I made the right decision here? Did I do the right thing? I'm buying this car, I could have bought another car. It's like going out and buying a supercar, for instance, and you bring it home because you're supercharged and you think this is beautiful, and then later on you think, why did I buy that? So that's emotion and logic. Now, logic always comes about 24 hours later. It can come up to 12 to 24 hours. And this is where the rest time is needed. When you make a decision, you write it down, you figure out the process, the goal, and you're all juiced up, you're charged up. You want to make a decision, you want to take action there and then. Now, you can take action there and then on something, but if it's a big thing, if it's going to cost you a lot of money, if it's a life changer, then just wait for a tiny bit, 24 hours, 12 to 24 hours, and see if when logic comes to play, if you can convince the logic. Once you can convince the logic and you got the emotion behind you, you got the two forces to be able to move forward. If you've got the emotion behind it, but the logic keeps saying, nah, but you can't do this, you're going to be fighting against it. You want to convince the logic first, along with emotion. So get the emotion supercharged, have a story in your head, use motivational stories of someone, and just fill up the logic and then move forward. And if your mind says, yeah, I understand that, I can go for it, then do it. Because there's been lots of decisions that have been made that they think, why did I do that? And that's because they didn't deal with the logical side, which comes 24 hours after. And this is the same thing in copywriting. Copywriting is basically a technique where you write to make a sale. And web pages and sales funnels, they all have the copywriting. It's basically a salesperson, but in writing. They always say, when you do a copywriting, once you've written it down, you leave it for 24 hours and come back the next day or the day after. Because once you've written, you're writing down, you're in the emotional charge, your emotional stage. But once you've left it, logic comes to play. You think, why did I write that? That's a bit garbage. Let's move that. This is not great. Let's move that. Let's put this in. Let's make it smaller. Let's make it shorter. And from that process, you make a better copy. And you can sell directly into a person. So you used emotion, which was the first part, and then logic, and then you redo that over and over again. That's what copywriters do. The same thing. It's called incubation. It's called the incubation period. That's what we have to use as well. Whenever we're making a decision on anything in life that's going to be life-changing, take the incubation period, 24 hours, just to relax. Don't do anything. Don't touch anything. Let it sink in. And once it's sunk in, then you can start using logic and overcome logic. Once you've overcome logic, then you've got 2 rocket fuels to boost you forward. It's just like in anyone who's watched the movie Universal Soldiers. It's quite old with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren. They were super soldiers, but they had to go back and get themselves charged up every night. Otherwise, they do not have the superpowers. Same thing with Superman. Superman has to get charged up by the sun. Batman, after he's beaten loads of people up, he has to go back and have a rest. Flash, after he's done his thing, he has to have a massive amount of food to recharge. We have the incubation period. That's our superpower, rest. We got to go back, rest, heal ourselves, let the logic come to play, and overcome the logic and then move forward. It's just a process of making decisions. You do not want to just make a decision on something through emotion and then regret it later. So we just got to think of that. Once that process is done, then we can start creating the process to hit the goal. And once we've done that, then we've got the emotion, we've got the logic, we've got the process, we've got the goal we can see, and now we can move forward. So I just want to expand from yesterday's yesterday's video. I had briefly said about taking the rest, but that incubation period is crucial for your success, and also to find out if it is the correct decision or if it's not the correct decision. Guys, keep adding value to people's lives, keep spreading the love, and just remember, we're one idea away from changing the future. Take care. Bye.